I guess my last question is related to the economy. You mentioned the economy earlier, and of course, there's no shortage of news about the economy. Curious from a business perspective, what your thoughts are on the economy, how you're choosing to approach it, and just what your thoughts are on, I guess, is it really what people feel it is? Just your thoughts on how you're approaching the economy.
Well, that's a good question. I have been an entrepreneur since 1980 and have felt the peaks and valleys of the few similar situations that we faced in Atlantic Canada over the last 28, going on 29 years. This is definitely the worst that I've seen in short order. It's the worst that I've seen because it's brought out significant it's brought out a lot of fear in people. The last couple that I lived through and functioned through and actually thrived through, I believe Atlantic Canadians never really saw the peaks to the extent that they have recently, and therefore the valleys weren't that deep. I think that in Atlantic Canada over the last 10 years we've been blessed. Things have been pretty good. We've had some gifts given to us by different resource-based industries and other things going on. I think that we've earned it, but there's been a lot of good stuff. So now we have a lot of good, young, highly skilled, intelligent people are living in fear right now, and that's a terrible way to live. Fear can freeze you, and if it freezes you, it brings out all kinds of bad things. So how are we handling it? We're trying to take that away. We're trying to take the fear away, both from our consumer, who says, why should I have a fitness center membership? I might lose my job, or God forbid I did lose my job. The fear of dying is going to happen from physical. The fear you're going to die for a physical reason, not because you lost your job. You're going to die 15 years before your time because you didn't take care of yourself, not because you went through a recession in the year 2009. So we've got to send that kind of positive message out. We've got to be creative. And the number one thing I've been saying and teaching and extolling is that transparency is the key. We can't hide behind, what recession or what depression or who has fears or why do you have fears. We have to come out and say, you're likely afraid right now, and here's the best way to deal with it. So from a consumer that's based business that we're in, we have to do that, and we have to do that very aggressively by delivering stronger programs and not getting complacent. And from our staff, they've just got to be better. And so the requirement at a tough time like this is not to cocoon and hide in fear, but to come out very aggressive and say, by the time this thing is over, I'm going to be smarter, I'm going to be fitter, I'm going to be more aggressive, I'm going to be more charismatic, I'm going to put all those things together, and I am going to be poised when it comes back, or if it even resembles where it used to be, to really capitalize on it and not sit on the sidelines and wait for it to change. Those that do, they will never see life the way they had it again. That's my guesstimate anyway.
Well, it's interesting when you say that. There's a study that I heard about recently from Kellogg University about organizations who kept investing in their people and investing in their marketing and promotions during recessions of the past, and how those organizations come out many times larger than what they went into the recession because they never got so terrified that they just literally froze. So they kept trying to move things forward, and they came out the other side much better for it. So it's interesting you say that. But something else I heard the other day, which was interesting, and as you mentioned, we can't hide behind the fact that it really does exist, and people are allowed to have their fears for the reason they have those fears. But somebody made the comment that, it's not like we're going to go back to trading rubber bands.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a great way to look at it. It's not like, as you mentioned, a person's probably going to die because of the recession or because of 2009. But at the same token, we have to, as you mentioned as well, appreciate the fact that people have fears for their own reasons.
It's all about choices, and choices get a little bit more difficult when you're immobilized by fear. And so as a company, we've chosen to continue to expand. We've chosen to continue to grow. We're going to do it differently. We're not going to be as haphazard, perhaps, and we're going to be a little more scientific and maybe a little bit more careful. But on the other, you mentioned marketing and advertising. Years gone by, we just put together a budget and we went out and we spent it, and it was la-di-da. Right now, we're scrutinizing every single penny. We're not cutting back, but we're reallocating. So we're going to put a bunch of that money that we used to put into the get, if you will, then get new customers, get new staff, get new business, and we're just going to reallocate it to retention. Because if we can keep what we have and keep the people we have for the most part, and not have to rely on the recycle, then when the economy turns around and when we do go back to the rapid pace of expansion which we've enjoyed lately, we're going to be in a pretty good position.
Well, that's an excellent point, and I'm doing a seminar on surviving and thriving in a tough economy. Actually, tomorrow morning I'm presenting it, and then on the 10th at Halifax Club. And it's interesting when you say that, because one of the things I'm going to talk about is the fact that a lot of people, when they're busy, a lot of organizations let deficiencies maybe exist and not pay so much attention to those crumbs on either side because we're busy anyway. And as you mentioned, those deficiencies may exist, and they're not maybe taking a closer look at those. But what I find is, with a time like this, it's a perfect time to actually start looking at those areas where maybe you're not as lean as you could be, and then finding a way to make those areas more efficient.
That's a good point, and I also, as a student like you are, also see what happens at times like this that will help your business thrive is that you put these make work projects, if you will, on put them aside. Special projects that we just were tackling because things were so good we really didn't have anything else to do but focus on. And you go back to the core basic reasons that you have a good solid business to begin with, or you had a good solid career to begin with, or you have a good solid job to begin with, and you look at what got you to that point. What were the key basic core points? Now go out and try to improve on those. Just go out and enhance your skills, grow your skills 15 or 20%. Get yourself in better shape from a mental perspective and in stress and balance at home and life, and get all of those things taken care of right now. And in 12 or 15 months when we can breathe again, man, take on all the special projects you want, but now's the time to stick to the basics.
Absolutely. And I think I can honestly say that Nubody's Fitness is probably going to be around for another 20 plus years, and hopefully till the end of time.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I will be too, but I know that's not fair. I've been at it for 25 years as an entrepreneur. I've been blessed. I feel I've got the best of both worlds, but it does. You put in a lot of time and a lot of hours, and over 25 years I've probably worked 50 years in comparison to some others. But when you love what you do and you're committed to it and passionate about it, and I know much more today than I did 6 months ago, and 6 months from now I hope to be in the same position. That keeps me fueled. But I tell you that our business is succession is a huge issue. We need to have this business systematized and moved to a different level. Process-driven, systematized-driven, so that it'll long live beyond me. My greatest legacy will be that when I move on, the company's going to go to places I couldn't take it, versus the old entrepreneurial adage that says it's all because of he or she, and that's not the case here anymore.
No, it sounds like you have the right attitude and the right approach. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you, Dean, for taking the time to speak
thank
with
you,
us
Corey.
today.
My pleasure.
Excellent. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Corey Poirier. This has been Taking Care of Business, and I'll see you when I see you.